Damn, dog, that was quick. Yes, that's right, we're going back to back. Another woo-moo transmission. This one, I highly encourage you to put on your invisible helmet, because otherwise your head might explode. This one's big, alright? How energy divides into matter, and explaining a little about the universal science and how that works. That is astrology, by the way. This is a doozy, okay? First of all, and I've covered this in one of my earliest videos on polarity, but the reason for existing, right? So understanding, I mean, whether you believe it or not, like, I know this to be true, many people know this to be true. We are all a fractal of the unity consciousness, all right? Why does this exist? Because consider it like an eye. An eye needs a mirror to see itself, to experience itself. So we are here as a fractal of the all that is to raise perceptual awareness through experience, okay? And to help grow consciousness. I mean, we are, as a whole unit, as a whole existence, growing, evolving spiritually and consciously, okay? So that is the whole point, and I'm not going to go all the way down the deep end on this. I've already covered it in earlier videos. This is crazy. All right, so for those who watched the Philosopher's Stone episode the other day, been on fire. Anyway, you'll recognize this symbol here, or this little thing over on the left. This is the Pythagorean alchemical pyramid, okay? But I've had some further insight. I had a little download last night, and my head has been spinning. And that takes a bit. Anyway, so consciousness. This is the pure, unlimited energy of all that is, that exists, okay? This is the eye that requires a mirror to see itself. So the first polarity, how consciousness, how pure energy divides itself. The first step is into the masculine and the feminine, but more importantly, sound and light. These are the division of pure energy. So sound is the feminine, the lunar. This is up on the top left, the little moon. And light is on the top right, that is of the sun, so solar and lunar. You know, masculine is positive, feminine, negative, so on and so forth. Feminine is also magnetism, and solar is electricity, right? So it's interesting. I'll get onto it in the next slide, actually. Now, this then divides further down into the Holy Trinity. Now, this little circle with a horizontal line through it, that represents salt. Salt is of the earth. Salt is matter, the mother matter matrix, right? In the middle, you have Mercury. This is the spirit. This is the conduit between mind and matter. And on the far right, this represents sulfur, which is of the mind. So these are also the basic three principles. We explained how the alchemists thought. So Mercury is pure metal. It is the perfect metal. Salt is the basis of all matter, of water and earth. And then sulfur, the acid, is of the mind. Okay, this is how the alchemists thought, right? And then this further divides down, and I'll use the metaphysical symbology of the cardinal points, all right? So your traditional cross, right? Whether it be the Maltese cross, the Jesus cross, whatever. The cross holds a lot of wisdom in it symbolically, and more than just what I'm about to tell you. But let me explain it like this. So the vertical plane is the masculine. So, and it divides into the four elements, as you'll see below, okay? So north represents the nous, the North Star. That represents fire, okay? South is spirit. This represents air. So this is the spiritual plane, the masculine, right? On the horizontal plane, east is earth, west is water, okay? So this is how, from the source consciousness, it divides itself down into matter. Super fascinating. Anyway, I mentioned in the previous video that we just recorded, and the word was God, and then there was light. Sound is the primary, okay? It is the primary energetic force. So interestingly enough, we actually live in a magneto-electric holofractal toroidal universe, not an electromagnetic. So that's an interesting insight in and of itself. And think of it like this. This is a good one for all the alpha bros out there. Dudes, we're all born a female until we mutate into a male. This is also why when you have the highest high of the spiritual attainment, the enlightenment, the gnosis or whatever, you meet the divine feminine. Okay, Isis, or the Virgin Mary, or Aphrodite, or Venus, or Gaia, or Mother Earth, whatever you want to call her, she is the archetypal mother of heaven, because that is the constant. Okay, so I'm going to use the Egyptian mythology, mythos here, which I've covered in previous videos, so you'll find that somewhere if you're not familiar with it. But in Egyptian mythology, you have the characters of Horus, Ra, Set, and Osiris. These all represent aspects of the sun. So you'll see over here on the left here, where west is, this is the spring equinox. This represents Horus. So when the sun is at the spring equinox, this is represented by Horus, is where we get hour, the first hour. That word comes from Horus. At the north, when the sun is at its brightest, the summer solstice, this is Ra. This is where we get radiate. Now, on the right side, east, this is when the sun falls below the equator, so it has a negative connotation going into winter, right? This is where we get set, sun set. And at the south, this is where Osiris lives, and he gets butchered up, so on and so forth. I'm not going to go into the whole story. But what is the constant here? Isis, Mother Earth, she never moves. But the sun, that is the cycle. That is what animates reality, right? So the matter is constant, but the divine light, the spiritual light that's projected onto it, that is ever evolving. That is how you get the creation of, light into matter produces animation, reality, And we've spoken before, our soul, in Latin, is anima. That's what animates us. That's what gives us life, that spiritual light into matter, right? Super fascinating. The pattern we choose. Okay, understanding we're a soul with a body, not a body with a soul. And we choose to live this life on Earth because it is very spiritually advanced, actually. It's a very difficult lesson. Life is the lesson. We've covered this. But why astrology works. You'll see down the very bottom here, this is a birth chart. So if you can find your birth certificate somewhere, find out the exact minute, the exact hour of the exact day of the exact year that you were born, you'll get a little something like this. And we've spoken before that our soul is a cymatic. It's a pattern of light existing inside matter, right? So why this is important is when you understand that astrology and the zodiacs and certain planets, you can see up the top left here, these are the patterns, the cymatics of the planets, right? And these would be interference patterns as our soul travels down to Earth, okay? So what these patterns are they're archetypal. It's understanding the different energies of different planets, different times of year, all these sort of things, how they manifest and how they influence behavior, thought, and all these things, right? It's really interesting. So we choose a specific pattern, which will then produce a certain experience on Earth. Now, how to utilize this? When you can get a detailed birth chart reading, and you can kind of get some understanding. I haven't studied astrology, so I need to look into this. But when you understand, okay, these are your archetypal strengths and weaknesses. This is the archetypal hero's journey that you've chosen, the path you have chosen. It has a theme attached to it. So you can better understand your strengths and weaknesses, what you should focus on, what you should not worry about. But moving forward as well, through time, obviously the astrological influences change. What is most powerful about this is understanding those archetypal energies, how to either navigate them or how to best utilize them to your advantage. Okay, now it's go time, right? I've gone into the whole synchronicity of this month today. For me specifically, my specific pattern and the 7 of the 12 and all this sort of stuff. I'm not gonna pretend I know everything about this because I don't. And it is the universal science. It is the one constant science throughout the cosmos because it works on archetypes. It works on the metaphysical, right? Which is the causal plane. We are just experiencing essentially the past in the effectual plane. But anyway, that was fun. Like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And until next time, woo moo, woo way.